happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person, but no. This last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. And in the interest of comedy, my friends, but also in the interest of truth, I will admit that sometimes the loudest voices for censorship have come not from within Europe, but from within my own country, where the prior administration threatened and bullied social media companies to censor so-called misinformation. Misinformation like, for example, the idea that coronavirus had likely leaked from a laboratory in China. Our own government encouraged private companies to silence people who dared to utter what turned out to be an obvious truth. So I come here today not just with an observation, but with an offer. And just as the Biden administration seemed desperate to silence people for speaking their minds, so the Trump administration will do precisely the opposite, and I hope that we can work together on that. In Washington, there is a new sheriff in town, and under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, great Biafrans and lovers of freedom. This is Radio Biafra House of Service coming to you through Radio Biafra London. Today is Viewpoint. Today is the 19th day of February 2025. Tata Bo Obochi Orie. I welcome each and every one of you to welcome your friends and well-wishers onto today's program. Today, as you may know, which has been advertised, is Viewpoint with my comrade, Mazi Austin. Today, we are going to talk about international geopolitics and as it regards to our quest for Biafra restoration. There is something I also want to address, because sometimes you see some of our people making this statement. Oh, this is not the time of talking. As if they want Radio Biafra or everybody to shut up on social media, on BTV. It is time of action. Let me tell you, without talking, there will be no action. And the action goes with talking. You know, why human being is called advanced animal? Because we are the only species, I mean human being, the Homo sapiens, the only species that translates their language into technology. There is no other animal that has the ability to do that. We are the only species that can manipulate fire, because technology is all about, or mostly about, manipulation of fire. That is it. So we must continue talking, because speaking permeates. It enters it. You are what you listen to. Let me tell you this. Do you know BBC Radio? Do you know when it started speaking? 1922. BBC, you are talking today. You are hearing today. BBC started 1922. I think it's the first radio to be broadcasted in this planet Earth. It's BBC. Till today, they are still waxing strong, speaking every day. They have BBC Hausa, have BBC Igbo. Why do you think so? Why do you think they are expanding? Because they want to always send their message to all nooks and crannies, not one day, not 1 year, not forever. So that, there is part of it. Propaganda is part of it. Propagation of ideas, of their own ideas, civilizations, everything about them, so that people listening will be behaving like that. That is part of human nature. So, please, let us sometimes this idea of we are talking, this is not time of talking. If you shut up, it will be the worst. It will be the era of dark ages. They call the dark ages. Everywhere will become dark. Are you hearing me? So that is why we will continue talking. If you don't hear today, you hear tomorrow. Don't think that maybe as you are listening to others, there are many people that never understand the core issues we are discussing. Maybe they will listen tomorrow. Maybe in the next 10 days. Maybe in the next year. That's why we continue listening. And those that are listening, they continue always, consistently, so that they will not fall out from that message. Because you see, our people, sometimes our people are funny. You think somebody is so strong mentally. The question he will be asking you privately, you become sometimes you become confused. So how can this very simple and primary issue, how come this person is asking this type of question? So, but it is part of it. So we must continue educating ourselves. That is it. So without taking any much time, I will bring in our brother, usher our brother to please come up to introduce himself. Mazi, please, over to you.
Okay, Mazi, Jonathan, thanks so much. Good evening from here. I am Mazi Chika Austin, a Biafran. I want to thank you for this great opportunity and the IPOB family at large. And of course, most especially our leader, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, for this great opportunity. Mazi, once again, I want to also thank you.
There were Mazi. Mazi, without much preambles, let us go into the business of today. And for your information, do not forget that you are listening to Viewpoint that is coming out from Radio Biafra London, here today being the 13th day of February 2025. And on this program Viewpoint, We are here to discuss things about international geopolitics because our people, we need to be updated. You know, I used to say this: an average Igbo man, his world revolves only in that radius, maybe 100 meters radius in his you know, and he becomes the king, thinking that the world is revolving around him. He doesn't even understand what the politics means. He doesn't understand that the decisions taken in one part of the world affects him. In the extreme part of the world affects him directly and indirectly. That is why we are doing what we are doing, in order to educate ourselves, make our people understand that, look, there are different ways this world works. And when it also comes to politics, it's more sophisticated than what you think. Therefore, Mazi, let us move forward. I want us to have a discussion about what is going on. Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States of America today, he won election in a complete landslide, direct, which means the people wants a real change in what was going on. And today, Donald Trump suspended USAID. Some call it USAID, USAID, because there are many things there. There are many corruptions. They are using it to sponsor, is no more hidden, to sponsor terrorism or the terrorist groups like ISIS, like Boko Haram, and so many others. They are using it in order to topple democratically elected governments. They are using it to push on the ideals of some few men or few people in the deep state. Like India found out that the USAID invested 100 and something million in the last presidential election. They say the reason given was in order to increase voters turnout. Very ridiculous, honestly. But they use these things in order to cause confusions all over the world. And you cannot understand why they are doing this. So, Mazi, I want us to start by you talking about this. The suspension of USAID, of which also, as you may know, the Nigerian Senate say they are going to investigate on using this money to sponsor Boko Haram. It was said direct, Boko Haram, you know. So, Mazi, please start by going on this topic, the suspension of USAID, and what do you think is the positive or negative repercussion?
Okay, thank you, Mazi. I think we are starting from a global issue. Yes, it's a global issue in the sense that it affects a lot of almost every country on the planet Earth. The suspension of US, aid, as some person choose to call, is a global concern in the sense that it has been an agency that people never knew the efficacy of that agency. That agency, as a matter of fact, seemed to be even more greater than CIA, than FBI, than Department of State. It became so weaponized that people were deceived when they see on the media spaces, bag of rice, bag of food aid, and all the rest of them, without knowing that all those things were just a small script. that underneath are weapons, little materials, you know, sophisticated equipments that are being packed to terrorists all over the world. And we came to realize this because DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk, they began to unravel a lot of things, you know. And USAID is one of the most terrifying agencies in the United States that have really undermined a lot of democrats all over the world. They have, you know, overthrown democratic governments, supported terrorists to take over government, like we see in the case of the operations in, you know, Afghanistan, even in Syria, even in Nigeria, a lot of places. So I think the world is yet to be, you know, properly informed of the level of satanism that went through US aid. And as time keeps on going, though there are certain state actors that are trying to see how to have a safe landing in this matter, just like Nigerian Senate trying to preempt, you know, by coming up with that funny story that they want to investigate, even when US government is not done on the investigation, to make a comprehensive publication on who plays what and who did what. That is to tell you that there is a panic even amongst Nigerian politicians, because US aid, as a matter of fact, cannot work effectively without using some internal structures. And this is where you find the Nigerian politicians wanting. So the small screen that is going on in Abuja, you know, the Senate trying to, Akpabio led the Godswill Akpabio's led Senate trying to preempt, you know, they seem to be more faster than their shadow. But time will tell. We are just watching to see everything unravel, Mazi.
There, Mazi. You know, like what you said, is just a small screen. What they are doing in Nigeria. I could remember many revelations, even of Bill Gates activities, because if it's even now revealed that Bill Gates is receiving direct funding, billions of dollars from that US AID, you know. So there are many revelations, of which we used to play it here by one Dr. Njemanze. And Nigerian Senate never one day asked for Senate hearing or to invite this man and say, let us investigate what this man is saying. They kept quiet. And today they are saying they want to investigate USAID funding of Boko Haram, which is simply a smoke screen. It's a sign of panic. You know, it's a sign of panic. So, but we must continue. So, in other developments, like you see, Donald Trump also, immediately he took the reign of power in America, he made a phone call with Putin, something that was deemed anathema, abomination by the past regime. He made a phone call that lasted, if not up to 90 minutes or more than, where they discussed. And the follow up we saw yesterday, there was a meeting, high-level delegation meeting in Saudi Arabia between United States and Russia, directly sidelining EU and Ukraine. Sidelining EU and Ukraine. So, Mazi, what are you going to say about it? You know, I underscore sidelining EU and Ukraine in the first instance. Mazi, please go on.
Mazi, that is not, to me, that is not sidelining. is a kind of associating with ideological similarity over a matter. It's basically not sidelining. You see, we have to call it for what it is. The European bloc, and by extension UK, they have a spelled out position on Ukrainian conflict. And their position is that the Russians must be defeated. This is what the EU wants. This is what UK wants. It's unambiguous. They have
that is, they must be defeated in using force.
Yes,
okay.
That Russia should be militarily defeated. And they came up that to achieve that, they on themselves the responsibility to arm Ukrainians until the last man standing. Is unambiguous. So they have not also retracted that position. They are also not interested. Their body languages are pointing to the fact that they are not interested to review their position. And across the Pacific, talking about United States, you have a new government that is saying the government is saying she is not interested to see Russia defeated. That is one. That she's not also interested to keep on wasting funds across Pacific. It's not even in Mexico, in Canada, a neighboring country. This is something that is happening, thousands of miles away from United States. And the new government said she is not interested to keep on wasting Americans' money in a land that at the end of the war, it is the Europeans. If Russia is defeated, is no benefit to American national interest. It is the Europeans that are going to also share whatever is the war booty amongst themselves. So you have somebody is interested to go left. The healthiest thing for you to do, in devoid of sentiment and emotion, is for you to start centered on rightists. It's for you to avoid the leftists. So that is exactly what is playing out. Donald Trump have made his position known that this is what his government wants. They want people to stop dying in Ukraine and also Russians to also stop dying. That is one. That he does not want to keep on wasting American money in Ukraine because most of the monies that were sent to Ukrainians were diverted. For instance, if you go to Egypt, you see what Zelensky bought, mansions and all the rest of them. You go to a lot of islands that are made, even in the place that burnt in America, a lot of Ukrainian generals had buildings that cost over, according to report, over 70 million US dollars. These are generals that are, earning salary.
Sending people to their deaths, yes.
Good. How did they manage to get that volume of money to buy, those expensive houses in US? So this is what Trump is saying, that he's not interested to keep on putting money in the pocket of thieves.
Mazi, do you think, let me ask you this also, do you think that according to the European policy or opinion concerning the war, do you think that Russia could be militarily defeated?
Well, there is a strategy. There is a strategy called overstretching in war. You might overstretch an entity, no matter how rich that entity is. That entity will start having a very, serious problem. The Europeans' strategy against the Russians is not just to fight the Russians 2025, 2026. They want to, if possible, get the Russians engaged for over 2 decades or 3 decades, 20, 30 years war that would, drive Russia into financial mess. This is their strategy.
Mazi, let us also not forget, Russia is not an ordinary country. It's also a superpower that possesses the largest number of nuclear weapons. So if you are stretching this type of country, because that is I think is one of the viewpoints of Trump, that these people, you don't understand, this Russia possesses large quantity of nuclear weapon. If peradventure you think he start feeling that he's going down, what do you think? Mazi, what do you think?
Well, Russia is a responsible state. We must acknowledge that, and she's a signatory to non-usage of some of these weapons, and she has also maintained that responsibly. So, but what Trump is also saying is this: even though you want to overstretch Russia so that Russia can have we run into economic mess. But look at the reality. Russia have so wisely created a market of itself. How? Russia has expanded beyond Russia, what is known as Russian territory, and have built a supranational market system where when Russia is facing a depression, China is there to bail out. India is there to bail out. Brazil, South Africa, and other expanding BRICS members are there to bail out. So Trump is now telling these Europeans that your wisdom is not feasible, it's not practical. Because the more you think you want to punish Russia, the more they are finding a justifiable means to solidify BRICS. And BRICS, by all numerical analysis, is larger than G7 or G6 because they suspended Russia. So if you put the Western market together, the numerical, the GDP, the per capita income, and other yardstick of measuring sound economic structures, that the BRICS are bigger. So Russia can outrightly avoid American market, avoid European market. But she has enough market to trade in BRICS. And this is what the Trump regime is trying to educate these Caucasians. But arrogancy amongst them cannot let them to rationalize issue. And that is, you see, and if you look at the whole scenario, you find out that they want to overstretch Russia under Americans' body. Not even them. How much are they spending? Less than 30% of the total requirements needed to prosecute the war. So they want to create problem, not even them funding it. Depend on American treasure. The high American treasure that America should prosecute what they are interested on. Who does that? It's only a fool. If a man wants a war, he should have the capacity to prosecute and deliver the war on a logical conclusion. So on the contrary, the Europeans want Russia to, be humiliated on the burden of the American people. So who does that? Mazi.
It's not tenable anyway. Yes. When you consider the European economy, the volume of European economy, because they have been told several times to upgrade even their defense spending, of which you can hear it even on the vice president's speech, J.D. Vance. He said it in Munich, that they have to upgrade, So another thing, when you consider also the speech of the USA vice president, before I go there, like you said something also, which is struck a chord. Trump politics is about making friends with Russia so that they will no longer try to build an alternative. Whereas the EU, they are using their arrogance in order to pursue Russia to be more formidable in every corner, including economically formidable. You know, so that is the thing. So when you consider the speech, the speech of USA Vice President J.D. Vance on the 14th of this month, few days back, I think five days ago in Munich, Germany, he looked at the Europeans in their face or in their faces and told them the reality of what they are feeling. He told them they are feeling, you know. Now, he told them that, the Europeans are retreating from the fundamental core values that bound them with America. That is real democracy. He gave example of how can on this 21st century, Europe say they are defending democracy, so-called democracy, whereas they cancel elections, like in Romania. They cancel election in Romania because things didn't go according to plan, according to their diplomats. That they can also do the same in Germany, which is, over censorship everywhere. When you look at, for example, even on Facebook, when you say some things and they say it's over censorship, they say, you become censored. They removed RT, that is Russia Today, from America. Then, and they are talking about democracy. Mazi, with all this, the question there is Europe losing it on the so-called democracy level? Is Europe losing it? Mazi, that is the question, please.
Mazi, people do not understand when, especially during the Cold War era, when we use the terms Western blocs and Eastern blocs. People do not understand the basis of that, ideological divide. The West were identified based on their political philosophy, which anchored on press freedom, democratic principles, which has to do with human rights, and all the rest of them. That was why they were called Western nation. They were not called Western nation because they were on the same geographical location. Look at where America is across the Pacific. Look at where the Europeans are. You see that geographically speaking, there is no similarities. But owing to the fact that they had similarities in ideology, they had a common thinking pattern. They were called Western nations. The Eastern blocs also were called what they were called because they had also an ideological drive. Philosophy they believe in is mostly of a kind of an enclosed society where the police, a highly police system. And that was why they were also called Eastern Bloc. Look at Russia in Euro-Asia region. Look at China in Asia. But they sum all those people based on ideological drives. Now, when you now come back today to tell me that the same Western nations whose ideologies were anchored in free speech, human rights, democracy, free and fair election, is now coming to tell you that because somebody tweeted in Manchester, for instance, that say no to this or that, and the next hour, British police is knocking on his door. You now tell me the same Western value is obtainable or functional in UK or in other places in Europe. These are things we must understand. You see, the Europeans are already hijacked by the liberalists. People who do not believe on all these things, we tenaciously head the Western nations act on for. Do you understand me? So these guys are trying to create the same system, the same value, the same norm they told us was bad in Eastern blocks during the Cold War. The same thing they criticize North Korea for is what they are trying to replicate in Europe. The same thing they say China is a police state is the same thing that is now ongoing in Europe. The same thing they criticize the Venezuelan president for, the Cuban leader for, is the same thing you're seeing in Europe. And guess what? The Trump administration is saying, no, you cannot call us. If you watch the recent tweet he made about less than 2 hours ago, he said, them, America and Europe is not the same. That look at far away Pacific. Because what is going on in Europe is not what the Western value is known for. And that is what the vice president is trying to educate these guys. But let me tell you, these guys know what they are doing. But for some of us who think that this is a matter of evolution, yes, some theorists will say the world is getting to a extreme point and returning back to very dangerous point. But it's not. You see, what we are experiencing is this. There are certain policies that you cannot effectively operate that are being formulated in World Economic Forum, except you lay down the principles of dictatorship. For instance, you cannot give a vaccine mandate until you remove the right of the people. So there are certain structures these guys are consciously laying for what is ahead, for their plan they want to adopt, for the policy they want to impose on humanity. So, and that is what Trump is fighting. Trump is trying to destabilize those satanic structures, which they are consciously trying to implement. And for those of us who think that these guys are not going to fight back, I think the person is not sincere with truth. They are going to fight back. They will definitely fight Trump. They will do everything to undermine him. But guess what? Thank God he took over 4 years studying them. And I think he came out stronger, Mazi. So that's all I have to say.
And they know that he's going to be a stumbling block for them to achieving their policy or agenda. That is why, have you forgotten, during the electioneering or campaigning time, Trump survived assassination attempts. He survived it, and he said that he's alive today because he have to change something. That is it. So now, going to what we are also discussing now, I want to just ask this direct question. Sometimes I sit down, I start thinking, I say, what are the real benefits of Africa aligning with or continuous alignment with Europe in this era? Yes, they colonized us, they structured our borders, everything, but what are the real benefits of Africans aligning sheepishly with Europe? What are the benefits? Let's come to kindergarten. What are the benefits? What is Europe really bringing to the table, in African table, that couldn't be gotten elsewhere, like in China, India, else? You see, like our people today, it's easier for a Nigerian that needs transplants, kidney transplant, to fly to India than to fly to England or Germany. Mazi, are you getting what I'm saying? So all these things is even cheaper, doing all these things there. So when I look at all these things, I ask myself, why then is Europe, the old harlots, I call them, that continent, ancient serpent, why? What is the benefit of Africans every time Europe is only meddling in internal politics, mostly of Africa, meddling, exploitation, everything? So, on your own view, what are the real benefits of Africans aligning with Europe in this 21st century? Whereas you can get many Many goods now that are being brought to Africa, even to Europe, is from China, from Asia in general, mostly from China. So, what really are the benefits, Mazi, according to your view? Go on, please.
Well, Mazi, you cannot outrightly say there is a zero benefit. We must be candid and realistic. But the truth remains that the Europeans, I give it to them, you know, have been so smart and intelligent to do what we call, hoodwinking the African system, and they own it for themselves. If not the recent revolution we are seeing, especially in Sahel, in South Africa region, where we are seeing some countries are saying, but you should ask yourself a simple question. Why did it take long for you to see all these things? It's simple. You see, what they do, just the way we are, the Biafran people, we are fighting this struggle, and the Europeans are watching. They are not stupid. They are watching our resolute, they are watching our tenacity, and within themselves, they also understand that there is a possibility of us gaining what we are pursuing. They know it, they are not stupid. And they are already also strategizing on how to also have a stake in Biafra. While most of us might be busy making noise, these guys are already laying foundation. So that by the time you get what you're pursuing, as you open your eye, they already feast within the certain structures. And how do they do that? They do that by making sure most of our brothers and sisters, the so-called educated one, the professors, the PhDs, and all the rest of them, most of them are already recruited as resource person to the intelligence agencies. And guess what? When Biafra comes, Europe will do everything possible to fund these guys, to have, to occupy certain position in the state. You can only diffuse such moves when you have the consciousness of how these things work. You would have asked yourself a question. Why did CIA, as far back as 20 years, started dealing with Tinubu? Because as far back as 20 years, they have already mapped out the roadmap that
Mars, even more than 20 years back. More than.
So if you see this one, if we give him support, all the necessary support, the media support, the legal support, the political support, one day he will get there. And he will make sure when he have headache, he will come to France. When he have something to do, he will run to New York. He will run to Washington. So these guys are well organized. I say I owe it to them. They are well organized. Why the black man is just crazy about what he's seeing today? These guys are already preparing for 5 years. They manipulate, mold, and structure everything to work for them. That even by the time that 5 years he say is too far, no need to prepare for it. Not the far. And you became so careless. They're already waiting for you. That 5 years will come, and you see them still be in control because they started today to work for it. So that is the problem we have in Africa. Most African society are victims of this. Some of their leaders are just Western intelligence assets, just the way CIA said that Tinubu is their asset. Most of African leaders, successful ones, some of them are recruited at university level, some of them studying Cambridge, Harvard, and all the rest of them, are already approached by these intelligence agencies and became a project. So when an agent, a Western agent dies in Africa, there are over 200 recruited agents that are going to succeed him as leaders. Do you see the deepness of the problem? That is the mess Africa finds themselves. If you listen to US during Joe Biden's government, if you listen to US committee on the military. When they were analyzing the military overthrow that was going on in Sahel, they said they were shocked because these guys were trained in US. Do you see how they organize their system? That most of these top generals are trained in US. So even when they when they take over the government, the West expected them to also be loyal because the West has invested a lot in them. So many of them do not see life for what it is, or from the perspective you and I are seeing it, because they're already deeply entangled. So when you're talking about all these things, they see it as loyalty, but you're seeing it as foolishness, as servitude. But they're seeing it that they are being loyal to the powers that made them. So that is the problem of Africa. And it's really, really deep and deep and deep. If you want to discuss it, it is a voluminous
Mazi,
thing.
now, like this thing you say, how do you think we can raise African consciousness to be investing on tomorrow? I mean, political consciousness to understand, even mostly our people, that
The truth is,
now is not the end of life. There is life tomorrow. There is life in 100 years' time. How do we raise this consciousness? It's because it's a problem.
yes, first of all, if we want to have an ideal tomorrow, if we should have the tomorrow we will be in control of, let us first of all understand that you must not be beneficial to anything you're pursuing. That mentality is destructive in Africa. The European man who is building, making a way to penetrate Africa today does not basically mean that he wants to be the one that will benefit on it. He thinks about generation he does not know about. So our people must start thinking about that.
And that Mazi also, and that comes to patriotism, Mazi. All things are, woven together like cobweb. Because you cannot be fighting for future generations that you don't like. You understand? So
Yes.
it also boils down to patriotism. A German that is fighting, risking his life, fighting for tomorrow's generation, he loves Germany. A Russian, he loves Russia. He don't care about his own life today. That is why he's doing it for tomorrow, for people that are coming after him. But when you look at also Africa, you see that Africa is divided in a way that Africans shouldn't be patriotic even to the countries they belong to, because there are many things we never defined our own borders. The Europeans did. So how is these things going to be solved? That is the basic question. Mazi, go on.
Well, like I said, there is this when you talk of Africa on continental level, and you want to think solutions should come from continental level. I think it might not really be real. It might not really be the way it works, because you must first of all have a center of cleanness. Then that particular right ideology will spill over. There's what we call spillover. The Europeans you're seeing today, or the ideology that bonds the Europeans together, was not a continental ideology at the earlier stage. It started from one area in Europe.
Yes.
Gradually, it became a continental philosophy. Do you understand me? Now, in Africa, for instance, we
Mazi, you're okay. Mazi, go on. You were on hold, or you are still on hold. Mazi, please go on.
Okay. So we have to see it from what it is. You see, if African scholars are smart or intelligent as they should be, what they would have done to salvage Africa, to bring the right perspective in Africa, they would have looked at the race in Africa that has high mobility rates. Then you concentrate on them for the right ideology you want to make a continental philosophy. For instance, there is no race in Africa that have high mobility than the Igbo race. Which means if you get the right of the Igbo man, the mind of the Igbo man right, is going to naturally export it to other Africans. And this was what the Europeans did. This was what the Asians did. The Asians concentrated on the Japanese. The Japanese at the earlier time of their life were, venturing almost all part of the world. They have to now got it right on the Japanese. What the Japanese got, they continentalized it.
It's an imperial power. It's an imperial power, yes.
Yeah, to an Asian ideology. If you also go to Europe, you find that the first people, the Portuguese, the Spanish, started early voyage before even the British people came. But they got a particular ideology, which is racial supremacy, that they are hybrid nation. They can enter anywhere they want to. Before you know, other Europeans started thinking that way. And even the smallest among them, like Denmark and all the rest of them, started venturing into owning colonies. It started from Isabella and all the rest of them, Queen Isabella and all the rest of them. It spilled over and became a continental ideological drive. In Africa, instead of us to encourage those who have that mobility tendency, we envy them. We kill them. We exclude them. We blackmail them. We call them all manners of names. In so doing, when you need your savior, you are already nipping yourself. That is the problem of Africa. That is what the African people have not realized. Mazi, some of us live in Malaysia. Ask yourself, why has Malaysian people entrusted a lot of leadership and control in the hand of the Chinese? The Chinese who are doing miracles and transformation in Malaysia, are they the only ones benefiting it? Even the common Malay is also a beneficiary to that. This is where people think devoid of sentiment and proliferations and all the rest of them, profiling. So until Africa is a very difficult thing. When you want to discuss Africa and our thinking pattern, is really horrible. But I pray a certain generation will come to Africa and begin to understand the importance of these factors. Else, we will remain retrogressive, Mazi.
Mazi, in order to add also, like this pattern of thinking, the advantage that the Europeans have, or they had, the Portuguese, the Spanish, all these earlier adventurers, the advantage they have over Africa today is this. During their own time, there was no higher power. I don't know whether you understand what I mean. There was no higher power that can manipulate. Today, Africa is backwards when it comes to this type of mentality. Also, you can see the Western higher power manipulation. Like when you come to Nigeria, for example, for instance, you see what is happening everywhere. The Fulani are the people killing. They are slaughtering every indigenous people from the north to south. But they are manipulated. All those indigenous people that are suffering all this genocide from one tribe called the Fulani, all of them has been manipulated to hate Igbo. I don't know whether you understand, because there is a higher power manipulating them. That is one point, one benefit, one advantage the Europeans didn't have. During their own time, they were just competition, or they were just competing among themselves. There was no higher power that was backing this one or backing the other one. Like when the Portuguese and the European, the Spanish, when they came, when they came to Africa doing business, when they started the first transatlantic, the first slavery they captured in the shores of Mauritania, they went back. They have to look for, sanction, or how do I call it, the papal bull, in order to give them power, official legitimization. Yes, the legitimization for them to continue what they are doing, which they received from the Pope of Rome that time. So you see that there was no higher power that was somewhere manipulating, using one way or the other, spending more money so that you hate this type of people, or you continue in this mentality. Because what I see in Africa, this mentality in Africa is something that should have changed had it been that there is no higher power like the Western power that is there. If we are talking, you see, BBC has more voice than what we are saying. CNN is there countering. People are listening there because they have the money, they have the powers in order to manipulate. So that is also a point that I think is also contributing to our demise as of now.
Exactly.
So now, going forward, I want us also to talk about the issue, the ongoing war in Eastern Congo. There are many theories and analysis about this. But, the war in Congo, remember that even Aguirre was sent to Congo. that is where he earned, I think, general. He was sent to Congo under, to fight under United Nations. So, yes, United Nations. As of that time, that is where he earned his general in a war front. When a part of Congo, Katanga to be precise, wanted to move out of Congo, led by one Moise. What is the name? Sorry, the surname move out of my head right now. So it was during the time of the first Prime Minister of Congo that was killed, Patrice Lumumba. They set him up using that Katanga side. And since that time, the war in Congo has been raging. War never ceased to exist in Congo. And Congo is, if not one of the richest countries in the whole world, the richest when it comes to natural resources in Africa. They have everything. They have everything, rare earths, rare materials that are being used for this technological, cut-edge technology. But you see the people there, they are suffering, they are poor. Now, today, there is a fight that is going on, looming. The other time we discussed about it, European Union, Brussels signed MOU with Rwanda to provide, to be supplying this rare earth, coltan, tantalum, and cobalt, which also Congo has so many. So I don't know. What do you have to say about this? Because I think they have taken another city. Is it Bukavu? Something like that in the eastern part of Congo. And the people are dying. You know, we need to be discussing also about African situations because it is people that are dying. People are being killed. So, what do you have to say about it? What do you have to say about it?
Well, Congo issue is a very complex one that the internal political structures
Mazi, can you hear me? Are you still there? Or reconnecting? I don't know. I think it's a connectivity issue. Mazi. Okay, Mazi.
I don't know.
You were cut off just few seconds, about 5 seconds now. Please go back. Yeah.
Okay, but can you hear me?
Yes. Go on.
Okay. So I mean the Congo issue is a very complex one, and owing to the fact that the internal structures that ought to have stood their ground and exhibit leadership have found one thing. I'm talking about the AU, African Union, and other sub-regional organizations. They have really, really disappointed Africa because of their, you know, lack of unity amongst African heads of states and heads of government. But if you look at Congo issue, you also understand that Congo crisis is artificial. It's not organic. It's artificial in the sense that the certain powers understand that the polarization of Congo gives them edge into exploration. It's as simple as that. And they have also been surviving with these singular antics, which Africans refuse to understand. You see, what is happening in Congo is an energy conflict. Who controls what? That is exactly what is happening in Congo. It's so unfortunate that the common Congolese are the ones dying, starving, being raped, being killed, the defenseless population, and the world tend not to do anything about it. If you look at Congo, you understand that while Rwanda is being heavily supported and funded by the West, and that is being extended to the M23 group, Congo is being, defended or being protected by the Russians and all the rest of them. So what you're seeing in Congo is a kind of, I wouldn't say it's a cold war, but it's a kind of conflict of big players, the West, Russia, China, and all the rest of them. And this is happening at the detriment of an African life. And nobody tends to say anything. The AU is there, begging for resources, begging for loans. Even South Africa that tried to maintain peace force within the region, Rwanda also accused them and even encouraged the M23 to kill South African, peaceful forces. So these are some of the things you see, and you wonder where is Africa heading to. Does it mean Africans cannot sit down and solve their problem, no matter what the problem is? Does it mean Africans cannot sit down as Africans and discuss? You see, this is some of the precedents that the past leaders laid. For instance, when Gaddafi problem was there, you could see Jonathan was, good luck about Jonathan was there, even I think as an AU leader. And he chose to even listen to what the West are saying against Gaddafi than even doing his own feasibility studies. So when you lay a bad precedence, that's why people must be extremely careful with what they are doing today, because what you do today is going to stand as a strong reference for tomorrow. So African leaders have betrayed their rights. They have sold their rights. Conflict management in Africa is now being entrusted in the hands of those who are fanning the same ember of disunities and killings in Africa. So it's quite unfortunate and also heartbreaking when you look at what is going on in Congo. And if you think the West are going to call for resolution as soon as possible, you are not really close to the truth, because it's an energy conflict. They want to encourage the M23 to secure as many resources they can secure for them. And of course, the arms that are being shipped to them to Rwanda is definitely going to be paid for, because there's no free cup of tea in any part of the world, Mars.
Of course, as you, just as you, let me say this, like Trump today is demanding that Ukraine pay them, give them a payback of $500 billion of their investment, American investment on their war. I think you know that. So that is it. Also, like what you said about like you gave example of Goodluck Jonathan trying that time in order to listen to the EU rather than more than even Gaddafi or Libya. And he also boils down to upper power. I've been talking. When you want to separate a fight and you see that the person at the back of one is very, if you dare enter, you become also a victim. There was one time, I don't know whether you have seen that video, the president of Uganda, he said it in a video. He said the horrible situation that we African leaders, African politicians, African presidents are suffering. People don't know. He said in 2011, some African leaders boarded a flight, inside one flight. I think he said the South African president was also there. They boarded a secret mission for negotiation in Libya. They boarded a flight in Mauritania. The flight was boarded in Mauritania. He said whether his vice president or foreign minister was there, he was not there in person. But some other presidents are in one flight. And they were heading to Libya from Mauritania. And you know what? In one flight, he said NATO gave an order. Gave them order. When they radioed them that these are African presidents who are coming to Libya, he said NATO gave them order, gave the plane order to turn back. Do not enter Libya, otherwise we shoot you down. The man was saying, it's in social media. He said, do you see? And the flights have to turn back. So it boils down to power, higher powers, I'm saying, because when you see that if you venture into things and you see that you become the victim, that hammer, sledgehammer will hit you. You now become economical with the truth. Let me give you an example, Mazi. Our governors, the governors in our land, we cry. The people are crying every time. Why are these people not talking with one voice? Why can't they unite? Because there are people behind them that are warning them. If we cry as the population, be together. Mustafa will call Hope Uzodinma from North and tell him, do you know who put you there? Is it these people that put you there? He said, no, sir. He says, it's me that put you there. Do you understand me? He said, yeah. He said, okay. So who do you obey? So I just give you that example in our local way, and that is what I feel that is happening to African leaders until Africans start, really putting down or electing their leaders, which I don't see in a short term. It's not going to be, short term. It must come through revolution, like what is going on in the Sahel. So that is it. So also through this, let me enter into the Sahel. Let us go into the Sahel, Mazi. We are seeing that that thing that we thought that couldn't happen, like what I was saying about power, there must be power behind you. A lot of emotion. One of the lot of motion is say in every action there must be equal reaction. That is it. So when you look at a monopolized world, you see that there is no other option. You have to key in by fire by force, otherwise you'll be removed or you die. But when there is, or when there are options like what Russia is trying to do, Brits are trying to do, to create an option, so that, do you think that if there was no other option, that this man, these people, the Sahel revolution would have been a success as they are today? No. They would have been quietly removed, and even people will, you can't do nothing. But there is a power that is also giving him protection. Now, when you look at the Sahel, for instance, let me read out, before Mazi, before you take the podium, let me read out some of the achievements of Traore, this Burkina Faso, Burkinabe head of state, that young man. I think this was 2024. He said 2 years of President Ibrahim Traore. Number one, his achievements. Burkina Faso's GDP grew from approximately 18.8 billion to 22.1 billion. Number two, he has rejected loans from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. He said Africa doesn't need the World Bank, IMF, Europe, or America. He reduced the salaries of ministers and the parliamentarians by 30%, and increased the salaries of ordinary civil servants by 50%, because these are the people that are working hard. Unlike in Nigeria, look at, the senators, they have laughing allowance, they have newspaper allowance, whereas they are owing civil servants. Even I saw it even on your post, Nigerian embassies, I think 100 and something embassies abroad, they are owing, Nigeria government is owing them. Whereas the senators, the ministers, they are controlling billions every day. So there's no sense on it. This is what good governance is all about. And this man did it. Now, number four, he paid off Burkina Faso's local debts. 5, he established 2 tomato processing plants, the first ever in Burkina Faso. In 2023, he inaugurated a state-of-the-art gold mine to enhance local processing capabilities. Number 7, he stopped the export of unrefined Burkina Faso gold to Europe. Number 8, he built Burkina Faso's second cotton processing plant. Previously, the country had only one. Number 9, he opened the first ever National Support Center for Artisanal Cotton Processing to assist local cotton farmers. 10, he banned the wearing of British legal wigs and gowns in local courts and introduced traditional Burkinabe attire. Number 11, he prioritized agriculture by distributing over 400 tractors, 239 tillers, 710 motor pumps, and 714 motorcycles to boost production and support rural stakeholders. 12, he provided access to improved seeds and other farm inputs to maximize agricultural output. 13, tomato production in Burkina Faso increased from 315,000 metric tons in 2022 to 360 metric tons in 2024. 14, millet production rose from 907,000 metric tons in 2022 to 1.1 million metric tons in 2024. Number 15, rice production increased from 280 metric tons in 2022 to 326 metric tons in 2024. 16, he banned the French military operations in Burkina Faso. 17, he banned the French media in Burkina Faso. 18, he expelled the French troops from Burkina Faso. 19, his government is constructing new roads, widening existing ones, and upgrading gravel roads to paved surfaces. Number 20, he is building a new airport, the Ouagadougou Donsin Airport, which is expected to be completed in 2025 with a capacity to handle 1 million passengers annually. Mazi, this is a country that was always referred to as one of the poorest countries in the whole world. But this man is changing the narrative in order to show everybody that there should never be a poor country. Any country that is being called poor means the people there are poor in knowledge. They don't think. Their brains are not working. That is exactly what it means. You know, this man is doing all these things. Nigeria is borrowing more billions from everywhere around the world, accumulating more credits everywhere, using crude oil, gas from our land as collaterals. Mazi, we are relegating the human natural resources, to relegating it to the background. Mazi, is unbelievable. Mazi, please come in here. Go on.
It's quite unbelievable. It's quite unbelievable. What we are seeing in Sahel today is a pointer to the fact that Nigeria was an overrated entity. You see, if just like things you have mentioned, they were not concocted. These are pure facts. What things that are obtainable in Burkina Faso, and by extension Mali and even Niger. So you can see what these guys are doing. And somebody in Nigeria is busy telling you that Nigeria is not developing because there is a war in Ukraine. They first of all started with Libya, that the Libya war was the reason why Nigeria is backward. The war extended to Ukraine. It now becomes so. These guys are showing what leadership is all about. While those of them in Nigeria are showing what failureship is all about. So that is what it is, Mazi. Seriously, it's really a disturbing one.
Now, Mazi, I saw a headline that said Niger Republic banning Nigeria ECOWAS, people who holders of Nigeria ECOWAS passports to Niger. And it gives me, I start thinking about it. First of all, whether is this not a propaganda in order to maybe castigate what is going on in Niger? Number one, because there is no way an Hausa man in Niger will look at his fellow Hausa from Nigeria and start asking for passports. And you see that people that are even holders of ECOWAS passports or Nigerian passports that are crossing the border to Niger, they are mostly from the south, either Yoruba, Igbo, mostly. Because I don't see an Hausa or Fulani man crossing Niger border with even passports. Mazi, I'm telling you, I don't see that. Once they speak Hausa, they pass. So you see, I'm seeing a conspiracy, propaganda, and also, that is what I'm thinking. That is what I'm thinking. My own view, in order to raise the people, the population against Niger, the Niger government, that not only Niger, against the Sahelians, so that people to arouse this pandemonium, that is this Sahel region, this and that, this is all this is what it's all about, and we are defending them, that they are doing good, whereas they will not allow us to even pass, to arouse this type of anxiety in the population. I don't know what you think about it, Mazi, whether you've come out about that news. Mazi, please.
Yes, Maza, I came across it. But first of all, news of such kind is not a village gossip or inside room gossip. It's on public domain, and the Nigerian authority has never debunked that. So, but we should also see it from this perspective. Niger currently has a lot of intelligence sharing with the Russians, and Russians have been able to help them, eavesdrop on certain issues going on in the region. Don't make mistake about that. And remember, the same Nigerian authority had in time past, few months ago, accused Nigeria of attempt to use terrorists to undermine the government. And after that accusation, it didn't take long. Terrorists launched attack in seat of power of Chad. They almost overran the government of Chad. And how did they achieve this? They were able to infiltrate. Did they infiltrate with a white skin? No. Did they infiltrate with a Igbo man skin? No. Who did they infiltrate with? People that also look like them. So I believe this action might be taken as a result of intelligent report that something unfriendly was going on. And in order to stop the infiltration, we have to stop the migration. This is what I think. I don't think it's a propaganda because the Nigerian authority has never come to say no. What is going? The story that is flying out there is lie, but they held strong to their chest. So I believe it might be as a result of intelligent reports they got. And owing to the fact, you should ask yourself: Is Nigeria the only country that borders Ukraine? Borders Niger? The answer is no. Is Nigeria the only ECOWAS country that shares border with Niger? The answer is no. Niger shares boundary with Benin Republic as well. Why did Niger not tell Benin Republic citizens not also access Niger with ECOWAS passport? Why were they centering on Nigeria? That should tell you that this is a continuation of the allegation of terrorism. You know, Nigerian government and France allegedly growing up terrorists to attack Niger. So I think this is purely on security matter or security reason.
Of course, I can also agree with you because, as you said, Niger shares borders with Benin Republic. Of course, they share border even with Chad, although Chad is Central Africa. Yes, so that is it. So, and also we never heard of Burkina Faso, who is also part of the Sahelian states, rejecting ECOWAS passports of Ghana or Ivory Coast or Benin Republic or Togo because they share borders with this. So I quite agree with what you said. Now, moving on, Mazi, because what are you going to say about this visa denial of General Christopher Musa, who is Nigeria Chief of Defense Staff? And another thing, why was Brutai not denied any visa? Why? Oh, when you checking the atrocities committed, open one by Brutai, but Christopher Musa today is denied the Canadian visa. What are you going?
Well, like I always say, people should understand that when a certain international system is at work, it changes a lot of things. When Buratai was there, the international system was an extreme corrupt one. As it was led by America under Joe Biden, was an extreme corrupt one. They don't care. In fact, the more you kill, the more they applaud you because you are helping on the vision of the World Economic Forum, which centers on population reduction, global population reduction. So if you're a killer, you're a good guy. So, but we're having a new international system that seems not to be interested to do on that part. You can hear Trump always shouting, people are dying in Ukraine, people are dying in Russia, because they're not interested to have people exit out of this earth without fulfilling their God's-given nature, destiny. So, what happened in the case of the Chief of Army Staff and the Canadian authority denying them visa? First of all, there has been this attitude of wasting. the limited resources in Nigeria. If you look at the explanation by the Chief of Army Staff, you ask yourself a question. They said they were going for winter sports, isn't it, Mazi? And the question remains, does Nigeria experience winter? Mazi, I'm asking you. Huh? So tell me why you should board almost a half aircraft for people to go and participate in winter sport. And of course, the people you're coming to their land are finding it difficult to associate with you at official level because they've seen a lot of things you're doing that are really, really uncalled for. In secret, they have certain intelligence reports. And you want them to open their borders and say you should come. Do you experience winter? No. Okay, even though you want to go and participate for winter sport, how many athletes do you have? Are you telling me that the number of athletes you have is a half an aircraft? Come on. No serious country takes that serious. And you see how they are agitating, you see how they are panicking. But there's nothing you can do. It has happened and it has happened. So when you have a very terrible record, you are busy integrating the terrorists. You are busy violating the rights of people. Reports are flying here and there from every corner about the human rights violations. You have carried out without apology. Then you expect a decent society to say, okay, come, you have done nothing. Of course, Canadian authorities is also aware to the fact that the Western image in Africa is going down. So they want to do everything possible to tell the Africans that we are not associates of these kinds. And I believe the opportunity came and they rightly maximized it.
Mazi, we can move on. Do not forget that you are listening to Viewpoint today, being the 19th day of February 2025, and you are listening to the voices of Mazi Chika Austin and my own humble self. Therefore, we must continue before the lines are open. Let us continue a bit, Mazi. Now, going on in this program, I want us also to talk about the open exclusion of Southeast from the federal government developmental budget, Mazi. It is very, very horrible. I played this yesterday. Let me also play it. I know you have seen it, but I want to play it. You listen, and people also, listeners will also continue listening. What we are going through in our land. Mazi, please, just listen, just few seconds.
Mr. Speaker, I'm from a zone, and none of the Southeast and other zones are captured in this particular place. And this is a national budget. We have to look at it critically. Mr. Speaker, I want to bring the attention of the House in this item 281, Light Rail, Kanu, Ogun, Lagos. Mr. Speaker, I'm from a zone, and none of the Southeast and other zones are captured in this particular place. And this is a national budget. We have to look at it critically. It's not for a particular state, Mr. Speaker. The Southeast need to be included. That is my point of order, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Your observation. I am sure in the course of the year there might be...
Mr. Speaker, no other time. It is now. Let us do it now. Mr. Speaker, observation.
They are already ongoing now.
Yours is noted, Honorable, and will bring it to the attention of Mr. President.
Order.
In the near future, we'll ensure that that balancing is done. Okay? Please, let's make progress.
Order, please.
Border communities infrastructure carried.
Mazi, this is, as you may know, This is the Green Chamber. And in those projects, the Southeast is totally excluded. Mazi, it is, and you have other people, other representatives of the Southeast that are there mute, keeping mute. Only this man's voice was heard. And in order for you, I want you to also look at the signing of, let me see, the signing of pipeline agreements between Niger Republic, Algeria, and Nigeria. The pipeline, gas pipeline, is there on the public domain. It's on the news a few days back. And the place that this gas is coming from is from Okwa in Abia State and Ebema in Imo State. Europe, they need this gas by fire, by force. They need it. Alternative to Russian oil, very cheap gas they need. But the place this thing is coming from, they excluded it with impunity. And our people don't understand what this thing means. Mazi, people are going their normal businesses. Mazi, please, I want you to talk about this. What are you going to say about this? And talk to our people, please. Go on.
Well, Mazi, I have spoken extensively on this, and I really want our people to understand. This particular project started over 42 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. The first signing of it was in 1973. And from 1973 till now, nothing has also happened. The gas has not started flowing. And we also saw what happened when the new Nigerian leader took over, and we are hearing that another agreement has been signed. We must understand something. Signing does not mean materialization. We must understand that. And if this project was signed in 1973 and to today, it has not seen the light of the day, do you think those forces and factors that made it over 40-something years, if I'm not 52, I mean to say, I think it should be 52 years, half a century, do you think those factors have also fizzled out? The answer is no. So I don't really get crazy when people make a media pushes. We have signed this. We have also signed this. All those things are inconsequential. Ask yourself, how come about this signing that Nigeria is celebrating and less than 48 hours to the so-called signing, Niger have restricted Nigerians' access. So if you're restricting Nigerians' access to your country, where is the cooperation? Because engineers from Nigeria and engineers from Niger ought to have been sharing ideas. Some of them entering Niger, supervise, make some cooperation. Some Nigerians also coming to Nigeria. But I don't even understand me, Mazi.
Mazi, I understand you, but I also might have another perspective, a different perspective from yours. Because when you talk about like you are giving an example with the free movement or lack of it, I still can see it as a kind of propaganda in order to a kind of distraction. Let me call it distraction for one reason or the other. Because look at
some of those things. You see, if you look at the whole thing, you find out that Nigeria seem to be the one pushing this story, pushing it.
Of course.
You just push a story. Less than 48 hours, we are hearing that you have been asked not to even enter Niger.
No, Mazi, I don't know whether you read the news. You know, these are ordinary people. They said Nigerian government, Nigerian immigration was obtaining people that are, when you read the news, the body, you say they were obtaining. If you have a Nigerian ECOWAS, they call you to the office and obtain, I think, whether it's 5,000 CFA or how much, which is not normal. But they said they have not seen the complete refusal by the Niger. You know, these are something that concerns ordinary people. So for me, I cannot play down on the news of the agreement being signed, because what happened, I think this American company that invested $30 billion in the pipeline, the gas pipeline construction, you know, and we saw the interruption. What interrupted it mostly was the military coup that took place in Niger Republic. So I think they have navigated over their differences when it comes to this, and for them it will be a win-win situation. You know, every country is acting on their interests. They must have spoken diplomatically with the Niger Republic, and you know, and have agreed, which is also detrimental to us as a people. That is my point. Mazi, go on, go on.
Good. Let me also say this. I made a reference. I said this project was, first of all, signed in 1973, and certain factors made it not to see the light of the day. And I'm not saying Niger has a very serious problem she's facing. One of those major problems is the issue of security. The regime is really playing the card of survival. And the regime also relies heavily on Russia security parts and defense. And remember, the same pipeline you're talking is an opposing product to the Russian grip on European market. So are you not telling me, Mazi? You know, countries also play scam. You know that it does happen. When you're desperate, if country A is desperate to have a deal done at all costs, you know, in Nigeria, they don't detail you the terms and conditions. You know, most cases, they hide it from public. So if Nigeria is pushing and pushing desperately, they can also collect the money. Remember this pipeline, there is a zero loading of Nigerian gas in it. It's strictly Nigerian gas getting to Algeria through Niger, and Algeria owned, jointly entering Europe. Niger has nothing to load. Niger already is transiting her oil through Benin Republic waterways. So I believe, you know, you have a terrible leaders in Abuja. They must have pressure and promise to pay this and that, just allow. And you tell me that Niger will not collect this money and still slow it down, just the way she has slowed it down for the over 42 years now. Mazi, we should understand that the international system is more complicated than the way. If Nigeria could not have this done for the past 52 years, is it now that Russia eyes is all over the African continent? So I doubt seriously, Mazi. I have my reservation. They have not actually told us what happened. But trust me, I believe Nigeria pushed out this story after, you know, maybe they have trust them on what they can do. Because Europeans do not have the diplomatic influence to get Niger, because Niger is already having a cold war with the Europeans. So the Europeans must have compared Nigeria and say, you know how much we have invested, you know how much we have put for this project. You have to put pressure on Niger. Let them allow this thing to be done so that we can have the gas. Let us have the value of money we put in and trust Abuja. Abuja will go and tell Niger, even though you allow us to to build it half. We'll pay you this. We'll do this for you. We'll do this just to make sure. Mazi, we have a terrible leader. So
Of
you're
course.
talking as
They
you're
are-
believing these guys as you're talking to European leaders. You're talking to the people who told you that snakes swallow millions of naira. These are the people you think you should be taking serious, man.
Mazi, honestly speaking, what you are saying, you are right. Because these people, they can do undo. Honestly, they can push out some news in order to gather people's reactions first, in order to understand how they can, they can do things anyway. Now, Mazi, I want us to conclude. I want you to conclude with in our struggle. Mazi, you are one of our media. You are one of us in the media. And you see that many of our people are always distracted, Mazi, when it comes to this social media broadcasting. Some people, maybe, I don't know, whether they don't know what to teach or they don't know what to talk, except for different distractions. Mazi, I want you to conclude before I open the lines to talk to our people on this issue, because we have many things that are going on. The awareness that should be created, teachings in order to give our people awareness on things that are happening in our land. But very sadly, you see some of our people on social media spaces, all they do is saga. If they don't talk one story or the other that will bring out controversies, they have not started. Maz, please go on and touch there. Now you conclude before I open the lines, please. Go on, Maz.
Well, Mazi, there are natural things you must understand. There are things you cannot change, no matter how passionate you are to see them change. One of those things is this. There is something that is called the comparative advantage in school of political economy. There are things that are called comparative advantage. And if I should bring it to the circle of media, uh, not all media platforms discuss same topic. For instance, there are media platforms that are specialists on sports. And if you want them to talk about political matters, you see them fumbling. There are those of them who are also good at fashion. When you want to get them to talk about economic matter, you see them going into mess. So it's invariably what it is. People tend to talk leverage on where they have strength for. And if you want to pull them out to say, discuss something serious matter, you get them frustrated. You get them embarrassed themselves because they have no topic on that to talk. So we should understand also that not every one of us have the intellectual capacity to talk about serious issues. And if you want them, in fact, if you want them to maybe discuss like me, you definitely get a lot of things wrong. Or if you want me to discuss like them, certain things will also, you see me fumble. So it is quite unfortunate that even some of us who are not mentally ideal to understand what ought to be the topic of the day, instead of us to be flexible enough to research, flexible enough to learn, flexible enough to be teachable, we now believe what we know, no matter how destructive it is, should be upheld. That is one of the dangers of, today struggle. I could remember those days, back days, many years ago. We are 100% being regulated by the topic we are asked to. Those writers keep writing on those topics. Those of us who go on air keep discussing on those topics. Those who do not have understanding of those topics, we call others privately and say, please, I want to write, I'm interested to write on this, but please, can you guide me? We all did this. We all did this. But what we have today is people who do not have anything to talk. They just want to talk issues that are irrelevant, divisive issues, baseless issues. And when you want to call them to order, what you hear will be unimaginable. So for me, what is most important is this. It's not every rain that falls that somebody should come out to play under the rain. Those who understand the time and the season should focus and continuously push it out there. Because your understanding, your strategical and logical application of the time and season will save others. But when you start focusing on these irrelevancies and all this, you definitely also make a lot of people to lose faith and confidence. So we have to understand that. That is my own contribution, Matt.
There, Mazi, I think we are going to go into some few minutes break so that when we come back, the lines will be opened. Here, do not forget that here we are on Viewpoint on Radio Biafra, House of Service today being the 19th day of February 2025. Tatabo Obochurie. Therefore, we must continue, and there is no going back because there is no back to go through. Do not go away. We will be right back. Please stay tuned.
I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we gather at this conference, of course, to discuss security. And normally, we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany too. Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democratic values, we must live them. Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to surprise, to make mistakes, to invent, to build. As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things are certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago,
Welcome back. This is Radio Biafra House of Service coming to you through Radio Biafra London. And don't forget that we are on Viewpoint, today being the 19th day of February 2025. Tata Bobochi Orie. Therefore, I am here with Mazi Austin, and we are talking about international geopolitics, also as concerns our agitation, our quest for Biafra restoration. Therefore, our lines are now opened, and our WhatsApp and Signal line remains +61 405 142 547. I repeat, let me take it bit by bit. +61 405 142 547. +61 405 142 547. I think I have the first caller already there. Caller on WhatsApp. Can you hear me? Caller on WhatsApp. Please go on. You are the first caller. Mazi Onye Muche. Caller on WhatsApp. Please go on. Can you hear me? Caller on WhatsApp. Mazi Onye Muche. Can you hear me? My goodness me. Mazi, caller on WhatsApp. Can you hear me? Please, you go on. I don't think he's hearing me. I don't think, Mazi, you are not hearing me, please. I don't know why. We must continue. Please, you can call. Caller, Mazi Onyemuche. You are there on call. Can you hear me? No. No. I don't know why. So, as I said, our lines are now open, and we are here live and direct. You know, if you have any contribution, please call. I don't know whether I know that how people are watching Champions League. I know that. But it's okay. It's not bad. So we must continue anyway. Mazi, you are calling, but you are not listening, or you are not hearing me. Caller on WhatsApp. Can you hear me? Caller, Mazi Onyemuche. Caller on WhatsApp. Can you hear me? Why were you? Please go on, go on, go on, go on, go on.
Mazi, good evening. Uncle, good evening from here. I thank you so much for being here with us today. I want to assure the whole Biafrans that Biafra has been existing and is still existing because the introduction of this political section showed me that we are not practicing Biafra directly, not having any compromise, because there are some certain questions that you throw to our uncle there that he answered it without wavering or maybe being partial, to get the favor of the Biafrans. And I so much adore you for asking that question. But primarily on this one, now please, before I ask the question I want to ask, Uncle Chinedu, there is this lecture you lectured us some time ago, I think early last year, about you made mention a definition about Pan-Africa and Pan-Asia and Pan-Europe. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, go on. Yes, go on.
On that particular lecture, there is this definition that is, related to each other when you made, when you were trying to define Pan-Asia and Pan-Europe. But that content, that political, social, whatever economic relationship wasn't found in the African definition about, Pan-Africa. So I want you, if probably you can be using 1 second to define that thing again. But if you can't because of time, my question is this: based on these few presidents from Africa that travel sometime, like you said, and they were bridged up by the NATO not to further again, because if they do, they will be shut down. Now, I want to ask, is there anything lesson that African leaders have learned to find a way to go back to our educational sectors, maybe social organizations, yes, rather, to start creating another definition about Pan-Africa? Because I realized, yesterday I asked you a question, I said, can we start talking about the meaning of who is an Igbo person? The same thing is liable, related to this question I'm asking. Who is an African? Is it those who are being placed not to think about their social, political, economic interests? Or who are they? So my question lies in this, please. How can we do this and get it right? Can we start now to compel the educational sectors down in Africa to start talking about the meaning of Pan-Africa? That is my question, sir. I don't know if I made myself clear.
Before I bring in Mazi Austin, let me also just give a hint. Like as I said and I used to say, there will be nothing like genuine Pan-Africanism without mutual respect and understanding. When you look at some of all these so-called African intellectuals, they are thinking or believing of a one giant Africa as a continent, having one government, having big everything one is not feasible. Pan-Africanism is about respecting people's way of life. You have people become free inside them. People become free inside their system, so that just like I gave example, Pan-Africanism, it was not completely detailed in definition compared with Pan-Asianism or Pan-Americanism. You understand? Now, when you come to Europe, you see little countries. I used to give example of this country, Iceland, that has a population now of 370,000 people. Only from the president to the last person, the population is 370,000 people. A population that is not up to a village in our land, but is a country. Why is it so? Because you have to respect them, their value, their system of life, so that they will have that sense of belonging, doing their own thing, but inside that continental shelf called Europe. in Africa. So, because some of all these, intellectuals we have in Africa, most of them are trained in the West. So they have that Western ideology or sense of thinking that's about Africa, not about Europe. Because in Europe, they believe in everybody must be free, to do their own thing, but now be proud of being an European. United Kingdom removed themselves from EU. But does it prevent the United Kingdom from participations of concerning European issues? No. But they say, no, we cannot. If we are there, we will be deceiving ourselves. Because there will be crisis. Our people, the decisions made there will be in contrast with the decisions of our people. So we better be ourselves, but we are part of Europe. Why should that same thing not happen in Africa? Why should Biafra be part of Nigeria, whereas it is hurting us? We are being marginalized, sidelined from anything, the budget of Nigeria, but we must be part of Nigeria. Does it make sense? That is what I'm talking about. So, Mazi, my goodness me, I don't know, Mazi, Austin, please come in. I don't know why you are having problem with your connectivity. Why? Where I want you to come in, I don't know. So this is what I'm saying. So without mutual respect, without respecting each other, there is no pan on it. There will be no Pan-Africanism without the respect for people's way of life, for people's differences. You must respect the people's differences so that they will be able to have that sense of belonging and be really called Africans. Before Mazi Austin comes in, let me take this caller on signal. Mazi Ifanyuchuku. Can you hear me, Mazi? Caller on signal. Mazi Austin is having some problems. Yeah, go on, Mazi. Go on, please.
Okay, thank you, my brother, for picking my call. My name is Ifanyuchuku Madabuchi, and I'm reaching from the Netherlands. Good evening to you, and good evening to Mazi Chika Austin, your guest in the studio. Yes, my brother. I like this the viewpoint. That's the name of the program that treats international politics and geopolitical and all that. And I want to touch on the causation points of the war in Ukraine because of the expansion of the NATO, and Russia felt being encircled. And Putin was, reminding these people, you said you will not come this far, but you are now here. But putting your armament on our border is unacceptable until the domestic issues in Ukraine, the ethnic Russians who have been marginalized and being treated like we are in Nigeria actually. But the point here is there's a question he asked our brother Mazi Austin, and he answered it to his, I want to add something there, which is, can Russia really be defeated in war? There's two questions. There are two questions. Answers to this. Conventionally, Russia is one state, albeit a mega state, but NATO is like 32 states. Conventionally, in a conventional warfare, logically, you can say that Europe would defeat Russia or could defeat Russia. But the point here is that Putin said when it was news that after Ukraine it will be the next and the next and the next until he take the whole of Europe. He says anybody that thinks Russia will fight Europe is crazy because Russia is but one country. But when it comes to Russia, what you call existential threat to the nation, to the Russian Federation, for what they call Mother Russia, there was a rhetoric question that Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, asked. Our brother Mazi said it right, that Russia is a very, to my observation and to many observers, Professor John Mearsheimer and Professor, anyway, just American big geopolitical thinkers. When it comes to existential threat, Russia bore a lot of stones, but they managed to hold themselves because the next step after that thing is to go nuclear. That's why Russia took a lot of blow and she hunkered down. And Putin asked, because people are saying he's bluffing. He said he's not bluffing, he knows what he's doing. And he asked this question: what is the need of this world existing without Russia in it? That will give you an idea where and when they will do whatever they have to do if they know that their country is going down and nothing to do. But as for the whole jabs and stones they took it knowing and waiting out Biden and his group, and they succeeded. But we, the world, we dodged bullet. Because if it's not a cool, calculating, and intelligent man like Putin, if he's a hothead who says you throw a stone to me, I'll throw back, then stone will be going flying up and down. Before you know it, it will reach to that existential point. People were very reckless. But thank God, we are where we are now, where we are back to diplomacy and common sense. And why is or should Africa still be dependent or beholden to
Mazi, let me also say, before you enter into African situation, let me also say, make my contribution on what you said about Russia being maybe can be defeated, existential threat, because I feel existential threat is a defeat. Once you're, the way I see it is this: Russia, I don't think that Russia can be defeated in war. War is war. War is where people are killed, where things are destroyed. That is it. Look at Gaza. It's this word that we are using, conventional and non-conventional. It's just but word. You understand? The people that have died in the Ukrainian-Russian war, using nuclear weapon, maybe it will kill those people in one day, in one strike. So death is death. It's just English that is being used to distinguish it. So what am I trying to say? If you are fighting and you see that you are losing, you will use everything you have. So why I see that Russia never use even they just use the Oreshnik, that their latest weapon, hypersonic weapon, just to give them warning that look, there are many things at the table. And you know that they said that Oreshnik, there was no warhead. I mean, even warhead, it's just explosion. Normal, nothing, no warhead, no explosive warhead inside. So it just gives them. When you are fighting with a strong person, if you touch him where he pains him, he will give you one type of blow that will pain you also, maybe moderately. But when he sees that you want to just continue, he can use all his might to kill you. Maybe you want to kill him. Maybe you carry a knife now to stab him so that he die to kill him. He will now use his might. So what am I trying to say? All these things are just English and grammar. War is war. When you reach at a point and see that, and as somebody analyze this thing, there is one woman that analyzed any war like this threatening. He says it's just a 72 hours war and the whole world will be destroyed. 72 hours. That is the maximum time. Because a nuclear weapon that can reach anywhere, even both armed in space, can reach anywhere in the world from this mostly two superpowers. So, fighting this type of war means destruction of the world. That is why Russia when they met on last Tuesday, the first thing Russia and America were talking about is normalizing relationship. And they agreed that there will be no direct conflict between us, please, to save the world. Not only to save themselves, to save the world. I don't know whether you understand. So they say, yes, they come for Ukraine, but this is the main thing, the most important thing. So Ukraine is part of it, because I listened to Vladimir Putin today on his live interview, live press statement. So it's to save the world, not to even save America or Russia, but to save the world. Because when you look at the Europeans, what they are pushing, this and that, Russia, Trump was saying whether these people are mad or what. Why are they poking? When you poke somebody, everybody will suffer it. It's not only Russia or Europe, everybody, the whole world will suffer. So why are you going this way, whereby maybe 8% of the world population will be destroyed? So that is what I want to put there. Mazi, go on, please.
Yes. Well, the point there is that existential threat is meaning that defeat is at the door. And when they reach that point, either by conventional or nuclear, that is when the power that is being facing or that is facing existential threat, we play Samson. If you remember the story of Samson, so pull the house down, that everybody, both pro and con, will go down. That is what Putin meant when he said, what is the need of the world if my country is not in it? And that is the national and logical thinking. Why should any country exist if mine wouldn't exist? That's what he said. But that's I understand your viewpoint that the war will never reach to a point that Russia will feel defeated because they will go to any land. And that will
exactly. That is what I mean.
Yes, exactly. I know that is applicable to America or any nuclear power. So, but we continue. There's a question you ask: why Africa should be, or should be still dependent or beholden to Europe? You see, after the colonization, these people planted. They go to what is called neo-colonialism. That means the ruling class in Africa are under or planted by ex-colonialists. It is quite plain out in Nigeria that any presidential candidate will go to the colonial house in London called Chatham House these days, which means they have say in anybody who is ruling in Africa. And we must not minimize the Eurocentric education, because all the intellectuals, or most of the intellectuals and socio-political leaders or leadership have one relation or contact with the old colonial, colonialists, and so they cannot make independent decisions. without influence or direction from the concerned colonialists.
Mazi, what I'm trying to understand in what you are saying now is about education, which is correct. Because when we are talking of even the intellectuals, what about from kindergarten, our complete educational system to be overhauled so that we rewrite our curriculum that fits us and fits our our African system. That is the right, the most accurate pattern. So that just the same way China, they have their curriculum that that fits their system, their country, their locality. So, but we right from kindergarten, they are teaching us things that is abstract, completely abstract. It's European system, Europeanized, and that is a problem.
Yes.
Mazi, go on, please go.
Yes. So because what you said now is that one is abstract teaching, theory everywhere, and secondly, conditioning. Like you said, from kindergarten, you are reading something that has nothing to do with you and your physical space. And when you grow up, you are thinking in that way. Even you have sometimes you start to think in English. There's one Igbo writer, I will not call her name for privacy's sake. She said she thinks in English before she thinks in Igbo because she has been reading English since her childhood.
It's true. It's true. We think in English first. Yeah, it's true. Go on.
Yes. So what I mean here is that from that childhood conditioning and the education, and then our people feel that when you behave like the people who gave you that teaching you have, you will not be, unless you behave like that, then you are not mature educationally or intellectually and otherwise. And the mistake Africans make is to think that somebody brought education to them or somebody brought God to them. Sorry to say this, but just as a reference. We have our way of worship and belief and a contact to the supreme being as we believe it. We call Chukwu Kabiama, and we have our learning system and we have our writing system called in CBB before these people came. So you see, the question, like we said, the solution to this is to write our own curriculum when we get Biafra. And for the last point is the Sahel Confederation of States. You see, those Confederation of States that for Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, maybe one of the Guineas will join them, and Chad and so forth. Those are thus far the hope for emergence of truly independent African countries, especially in the sub-Saharan Africa. Because everything else since 1970, since I started to know that 1 is plus 1 is 2, every leadership that have emerged in Africa is imposed by one country or the other. But the difference now is the people in the Sahel, like this Traore, this young man, President Ibrahim Traore, that went from getting 80 cents or $1 for a measure of uranium, and now he can sell it for $200 plus as it is worth in the commodity market. That is independence. You hear when, or you heard when the First Lady of Sierra Leone was lamenting. They sell how many tons of gold? They give you 10,000
in every $100 million. they get $10,000.
Just imagine. Is this not so criminal? Is that human?
That is what Europe, the West, have been doing, and they continue doing in Africa till today.
And they preach democracy and human rights to us. My brother, the solution to our plight is restore Biafra and our people must support USN. God bless Biafra.
There, Mazi, of course. Just like Mazi Austin says, I don't know why. I think he's having some difficulties coming in. You know, this Pan-African development revolution, it must start from a dot. Let me put it like that. It will never start generally from everywhere. No, it's impossible. It's just from one place. Those active, you know, just like you define osmosis, movement of particles from areas of larger concentration. Now they diffuse through a semi-permeable membrane or diffusion. You know, so it needs the saturation of one people that are mobile. Now they will carry the message, carry everything, move around, and spread it. Caller on WhatsApp, please go on. Caller on WhatsApp, please go on. Can you hear me? Caller on WhatsApp, you are on the podium. Can you hear me? Please go on. Why is the WhatsApp line? I don't know. Caller on WhatsApp. Now go on, please. Go on.
Good evening, and a good evening to all Biafrans and the lovers of freedom. My name is Chukwudi. I am calling from Italy. Please, I want to start from this our brother, the last call, what you are talking about, the educational curriculum. You know, here in this country, when we are going for language school, so in a class, they were teaching us a lot of things, and they come to history. So they were teaching us about the American Revolution, European Revolution, and also French Revolution. So I was curious to ask a question. I said, what about African Revolution? Everybody started laughing. So it occurs to me since that time that we don't have history. And these people don't believe that we exist, if not the natural resources. That is one. The early time you are starting this program, you make an announcement or you tell some of our people who always say that why are we talking. I want to tell you that the talking, I usually tell some of our people here when you are talking to them about Biafra, they will say you people talk too much. I told them that if you cannot talk, you can never fight. It's only somebody who can talk can fight. So that is it. And what I am very happy about this viewpoint, it taught us a lot. This few times you started it with our brother Mazi Austin, it affects us a lot. To be honest with you, this Radio Biafra, it have taught us even a lot of things we cannot even tell. Even our personal life, it have also shape it even before. If you stand in the public, you cannot talk anyhow. You look before you talk, you listen more. So that is it. And again, what I want to say again, concerning what the budget of 18 they did to our people and all these things, our people have to wake up. We have to wake up. Because if we are people are existing, like you always say that if people are alive, the Senate, most of our senators will never go there and sleep. They will talk and they will know that if they fail to do what they're supposed to do, they can never sleep in their house. Even they will be panicking while coming home. So that is it. And another thing I want to remind our people is that somebody who has been pushing you to the extent, like the senator there who is covering up for these people, they have pushed us a lot. It's like you said, they should have staged a walkout. Nobody. And that is why we value Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, like we cherish Mazi Nnamdi Kanu like gold. Because it's only Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can stand in because they have taught our politicians that they are not part of us. But it's only when it happens so hard now they will be crying. Look at Okorocha when they come to him, when EFCC come to him to arrest him, he was shouting, calling Jesus. The same thing with all Joseph Okari, started crying. Is it this kind of people? Sometimes baffles me and it pains me that if not IPOB now, which Mazi Chukwu always did it, it's only IPOB that you remember. To be an Igbo man will still. That's all I have to say, Mazi. God bless you and God bless Biafra. Thank you.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on signal. Can you hear me? Please go on. Caller on signal.
Yes, Mazi, I can hear you.
There were. Welcome to the program. The Kwarage.
May Elohim continue to bless you. Mazi, before I continue, I will say that I do not have a question because one of the things that I've come to know in this struggle is that I have absolutely confidence and faith, and the listener the way he also we care more indeed. The things I don't understand, what I do is that I take my time. With time, you will see the answers will come. So, Mazi, let me go on what I want to say. Mazi, if I say no, you see most of the things that is happening in Nigeria, especially when it comes to this exclusion of the budget of the Nigerian government. Sometimes it pains me, and sometimes I'm happy about it. These things that they are doing, these are drums of war. Yes, our people might not understand. And that is why we are doing what we are doing today. And I believe when it comes to this emanation of, as in talking about our plights and enlightening our people, I believe we have not spent much time. Because if you watch how long we have been in this very derailing process, the 500 years of slavery, the almost 100 and something years in staying in Nigeria, generations have come to and passed, and most of us have lost the ideas of how we were in the past, the genuinity of being who we are. So we are just trying to pick the remnant. And at the same time, if I have questions, or if I have a suggestion, I think we should talk more of what happens to people that behaves in the manner of our people. There are incidents of where it happens in the countries, like even the Jews of Europe today. What happens to them during the reign of Hitler and the rest of them? I guess those things will help in calling back the minds of our people in the dangers ahead. Mazi, I will leave it there. Then I want to talk about this agreement signed by the Nigerian government and the countries in Sahel. I like the analysis which you people give here, but that is how I live my life. I always go for the harder part. Yes, I might know that, yes, in other ways there might be how it might not be factual or real. But I love to believe that they have signed it and they are even exploiting it. With it, it will give me more, the hatred I have for Nigeria, the passion I have to emanate as in passing these messages to my brothers and sisters. The anger grows in me. So I don't want to bring it down. Then when it comes to these media aspects, I believe none of us that is in this very place. I know I've been listening to you from the early days. I've been listening from every one of us. None of us went to, what will I call it, that has this media profession that we read about it and have it. It is because of the love, the passion, as in that eager, that's depth, desire for us to pass this message, achieve what we want, that makes us to come to this stage where we are. There are so many of us, or so many of people, so many, how will I even put it? Because I don't believe not everybody know in the right path. There are people that just part-time, anytime they pick up their phone, they start talking. And it will not work. It's just like, let me give you an example. If you sent a friend to go and serve, and he served with a particular person for 8 years, and after that 8 years, you know that he didn't serve, and now come and settle him, who do you think he will be loyal to? So most of them is not that rooted. The only time they have to discuss Biafra is the only time they picked up their phone. They don't take their time to listen to other media broadcasters. They don't take their time to pick up issues and go in and check, make researches. And know that they are talking to millions. You're talking to so many people that is even more advanced when it comes to the knowledge. And they don't even have that desire of what they are doing. So that is why you see them, sometimes they go there and pick on themselves. But I know that many are called, few are choosing. And without the original, there will not be fake.
Of course.
So these are what I have to say.
There will, of course.
And I want to use the same opportunity before I go to thank the ESN. What they have done, especially where they went and got most of these kidnappers, and where they have been dumping people's cars. So anybody that is asking what are they doing, these are the signs. And also encourage every one of us to support the leadership and support ESN. These are our last line of defense.
Thank you very much. You said it all. Mazi Chika, you want to say something? Mazi Austin, are you there? You want to say something before I go on?
Mazi, go on. I'm listening patiently. Go on.
Okay. We are now joined by Wada Tina. I hope you are listening. Can you hear me, Wada Tina? Wada Tina. We are now joined by Wada Tina. Can you hear me?
Mazi, your line is always hot and almost impenetrable. And I count myself lucky today to be able to speak to you on Radio Biafra. Mazi, Efifioma from here, from the United States of America. And great Biafrans, I thank you all for listening and being such active listeners. I want to thank Mazi Chika for addressing the issue of content creators versus serious-minded freedom fighters discussions on Radio Biafra. We are so totally different. All these people doing saga, like they call it, they're all content creators and they just want some attention. And so, yeah, there is time to give somebody like that or some people like that some attention. But that should never distract us from what we're doing here. Mazi Chinedu does some serious thinking issues on this program and some real good teaching on this program. So we cannot compare that to somebody just on the side. That is different. So we must differentiate those and make sure that we really engage ourselves in the freedom fighting discussions and issues that we're here to discuss. But one of the things I want to ask Mazi Chika Austin, if he will come back again,
she's hearing, she's listening, she's here.
Is a serious issue of the pipeline.
One that she is here. He's listening. He's listening. He's here.
The serious issue of the contract of the pipeline issue with Niger and Italy and all these European countries, when it is coming from Ebeman, when it's coming from my place when he's coming from the Olu province and all over Abia State. But then they go into their budgeting session in their House of Representatives and don't mention any issues, any projects being done in all of Biafra territory. And I heard when Mazi Al-Zayuba was having his program, and you called in, Mazi Jonathan, and you were just as mad at Mazi Al-Zayuba, and I was right there with you because that whole thing baffled me and really made me think, if anyone that answers a Biafran is not thinking about this seriously, they don't understand what we're talking about. We have already been disconnected from the entity called Nigeria by all their actions. From all ramifications, you can look and see we are disconnected. We are no longer Nigerians. Why do our people not understand that Biafra is the only way out? If you can delve into that just a little bit more and answer some of the issues surrounding that, that will help me because I have been mad for 3 days and I don't want to, sometimes I laugh at myself because I think I take it too seriously. But when I think like that, I also think, yes, it's very serious to me because my children's lives, my life is at stake. And then Mazi Abuchi spoke about curriculum in education. This is where some of us, like myself, can make the most impact to Biafra children. And if we can sit down and start now, if we have a Biafra nation, sit down now and think about education and how to educate our people, how to go back to who we are and start our education from scratch. Some of us, myself included, who studied educational curriculum in school, this is what I know how to do. This is my whole life. If we can start now to put it down, and the only regret I have in life is that by the time that comes, I know there will be more sharper minds at that time. And so I leave that to Chukwukabiam. But if I can make impact in what will be taught to Biafran children, that will be the best thing that will ever happen in my life. And that's why I speak on Radio Biafra when I get the chance, is that education of the mind, knowing who you are, is the biggest thing you can give and inculcate in any human being. And if you cannot do that, you have actually failed. When you have children in your own house and you cannot teach them what you want them to know, you have actually failed as a father or as a mother. So please just let him speak a little bit more about how we should be dealing with you said, this act of war on us, this act of totally disconnecting Biafra from all of Nigeria, money, budget, thinking, discourse, everything. But they continue to come and reap what is in our land, the oil and the gas, to sustain themselves. Mazi Chika, and if you speak a little bit about that, I would like that. Thank you very much, Mazi. Chinedu, please continue your wonderful work for our people. We appreciate you. We might not tell you every day. We appreciate that. Thank you very much.
We are also honored for you to being in our midst today. Mazi Chick Austin, I hope you understand her question. Please go on. Mazi Austin.
Okay, thank you, Mother, for the question. And I believe I'm coming out loud clear.
You are.
Okay, in respect to that, the question she asked over how they have been disconnecting us and the same way connecting us in terms of stealing our resources, how we can stop such a thing. I strongly believe that the leadership is understuding the project development. If for those of us who are in Nigeria and who have traveled extensively on the road, you would agree with me that the project, if you look at the pipeline project, we transit from Imo, then onward down to Kogi, then start looking towards Sokoto. So you find out that the project itself seems to have a more media hype than what is realistically obtainable. If you apply through those Kogi axes and a lot of those areas, you find out that what is said about the project is more of media hype than reality. So it's also a healthy one for us to preempt, for us not to preempt in most cases. And I believe that leadership eyes is not out of the fact that what is the level of completion of that project. That is one. Secondly, I believe also furthermore that the leadership is also taking into consideration every social political developments, especially within our land. And most of us might not really understand why the leadership is working extensively to make sure that there is peace in our land. Because most of the uprising we are seeing in our land is geared towards is connected to the gas politics. How do I mean? The polarization, the attempt to polarize our land, create artificial crisis, is a way to get our people distracted with issue of insecurity, whereby they can focus, get this project done, and keep on stealing our resources, which most of us never understood. So many Biafrans were naive about the social engineering, the politics of polarization in order to exploit. So these are some of the things, the battle is multifaceted. The battle is really multidimensional. So the leadership also have been doing her best to see that we first of all achieve placidity in our land, absolute tranquility, as the case may be, in order to enable us identify and map out our enemies. Because in a market square where everybody is running, nobody knows whom the enemy is. So these are so many of the battles, the unpronounced battles that we all collectively have been fighting in this struggle that people do not know. The attempt of the leadership to make sure that there is calm, so that those who are contracted to politicize our region in order to steal from us can be easily be identified and appropriately communicated to. So these are some of these things. So if there is other advanced strategy geared towards undermining this continental European stealing of our resources, I think it should be exclusively reserved for the leadership to decide. So I don't think if I actually answered your question, Wanda.
Of course. I think she's listening from the background. I think so. I think we must continue. Caller on signal. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mazi Chinedu.
There were. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. My name is Chim. I'm calling from Ireland. Mazi Austin, I hope you are hearing, because I would like your opinion.
He is.
Or your view. Okay. Currently, previously, the globalists were enjoying the privilege from the U.S. previous administration, and which they fought this present administration, but they lost the fight. And at the moment, it seems like they are on weaker position. So, and we are aware that these globalists, we are fighting against most of people who are fighting for their self-determination, and they are promoting criminals as political leaders around the world, most especially in Africa. Right. So I want to know, like, at the moment, this is their position now. How do you think people around the globe, both from Biafra, Ambazonia, Kurdish, Scottish, Catalonians, the rest, can take this advantage, this opportunity to advance their cause? Is there any privilege? Is there an opportunity for them at the moment to use this opportunity, this position that these people that have been suppressing the right of the self-determination or indigenous people around the globe? So what do you think about that?
Mazi,
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if I can respond.
yeah, go on. You can.
Yes.
Go on, respond.
Okay. First of all, these people you called so far, I think they have a very good opportunity. But mind you, you're talking about that is over 200 years. When you talk about the globalist agenda, it predates First and Second World War era. So it's a very powerful institution, scattered all over the world. And if anybody thinks Trump can unilaterally subdue, dismantle this age-long institution, that person is a liar and a self-deceiver. Trump does not have what it takes to unilaterally subdue these guys. These guys, they're in the media, they're in the security, they're in the intelligence sector, they're in the food you drink, in the water you drink, the food you eat. The globalists have a brand on there. But there's something Trump is trying to achieve. And what is that thing? Picking the like minds all over the world. You see him trying to do everything possible to cement relationship with Putin because he needs Russian cooperation. He needs other like-minded fellows cooperation because for him alone, he cannot do it. John F. Kennedy tried fighting these guys and they ended him up. Trump, in fact, escaped it. And you cannot undermine the efficacy of these guys. They are wealthy, they have understood the world. They went as far as establishing an institution known as World Economic Forum, where they decide how you will think, how you will breathe, what you will eat, whether you exist or not. So it's not an easy fight. If anybody to expect Trump to start talking about indigenous right or the right for self-determination at this moment, that person is not candidate truth. The only thing he's trying to, first of all, get the confidence, the trust of teammates. What he's building in Russia is to get the confidence of the Russians, because Russia is mainly, a conservative society. So, but he needs to build trust, because remember, there is skepticism amongst Russians when they are dealing with anybody from America. They believe that these guys could be dicey. You can't trust them enough. But Trump is trying to use every single opportunity, especially Ukrainian opportunity, to prove to the Russian people, we can do this together. We can dismantle these satanists together. We can liberate the world together. We can do this. But he needs to build confidence. That is what we call confidence building in relationship. Furthermore, he cannot make certain pronouncements without disembodying certain strong institutions. Most of us, if not what is going on, most of us, majority of us are not aware that USA, which is purely civilian agency in outlook or by configuration, is now running a military industrial complex. If not what is going on, that Elon Musk Department of Government Efficiency, Dodge, is doing, none of us could believe that USAID have anything to do with armament. Nobody could believe that. The least of us would think is unimaginable. But these are underground things. The agency became so powerful than CIA, and what are they doing? They are trying to, first of all, cut supply chain of the globalists. What is the supply chains of the global? These agencies are channels at which they fund their evil agenda. And that is what he's doing. By the time he succeeds in building global network, succeed in cutting their supply chain, then you can walk away from Nigeria and nobody will have the capacity to draw you back. The Scottish people can walk away from UK Union and UK will not have the capability to stop them. The Catalonians can walk away from Spain and nobody can hiss over that. The same way in Kurdish, Western Sahara Arabs and all the rest of them. So it's a strategic move. That's why we must be highly acquainted with geopolitics, so that you can even know the right time to make your declaration if possible. Because your ability to study evolving developments, your ability to critically analyze and accurately decipher issues will help you to even know when to declare Biafra and understand that Nigeria does not have the capability to stop you. So these are the reason why we must step up mentally to be in tune with the functionality of the world. So that is all I have to say there.
Okay.
Mazi, go on.
Thank you. There's an area you mentioned. You guys have said about USD. Though I have a different, slightly view about it. And when you mention about Elon Musk department, even though it might be too early for me to start exhibiting my view, because if by the end of the day nobody was prosecuted for this, I will view it as a sort of a witch hunt against South Africa, but playing a different direction using Boko Haram. That's my own view, but I'm just watching it to see how it's going to play out.
But let's be sincere in terms of prosecution. Anybody being prosecuted is not even direct beneficiary to us as a people. Now look at the whole thing. If USAID is not is not what is called out for or what is said to be currently, tell me why Nigerian Senate is overreacting over that. Tell me why Nigeria is promising the USAID staff in Nigeria of integrating them into civil service. These are some of the things we don't know. Let me use a very mild word, but for those who will understand, should understand. You see, when you collapse a structure, if, for instance, if someone is running a school, I just want to use an allegory. If somebody is running a school, that I know that the students of that school, the boys in that school are being used by me for evil dealings. And all of a sudden, the principal of that school or the proprietor of that school decide to shut down that school. Do you think I'll be relaxed to say, okay, they have shut it, let everybody go now? I will naturally want to pick those boys and absorb them, isn't it? The number one reason is allowing those boys to go without being under my control can make the public have access to sensitive information as a result of their dealings with me. That is one. Two, having them or absorbing them into my circle is another way to use their experience, their expertise to advance another operation if there is a need for that. So now let's ask ourselves a question. What is that Nigerian government is having interest on, that they are now saying that they fired staff of this agency, that they want to employ them? One, either there is a sensitive information at their disposal that Nigerian government does not want it to be leaked out. That is one. Or their expertise in terms of their relationship with this is a country that absorbs terrorists. That means government might be interested to still utilize that their expertise. So what I'm trying to say, it's not the issue of prosecuting anybody that we are looking for is irrelevant to us. But if we can be able to weaken the structure, look at the whole thing. South Africa was sanctioned in respect to their aid on HIV, US aid on HIV. South Africa came out boldly and said, it has no much impact on us because your aid, the aid we receive from you is 18%. This is South Africa speaking to US, that we can easily, augment it. We can easily cover that up. But when it came to Nigeria, immediately the US aid of the thing was suspended. Nigeria government started panicking here and there. Panics here and there. So anything that will weaken the structure of the imperialists, that will weaken the structure of subjugation, the entity that subjugates us. If Nigeria is powerful, it will be a difficult thing for us to exit. This is the reality of the matter. Nobody can argue it on the contrary. But if Nigeria is weakened, you can walk away, and because she does not have the strength to pursue you, she will just let you go. Naturally, it has happened in several countries. The front USSR, nobody shot gun to anybody. It's because the center was weakened. The sub-regions began to walk away without anybody challenging them. It's another way of exit, apart from the military confrontation. When the center is weakened, people can easily walk away. Iraq was weakened on the central level, Saddam Hussein was a center of power, a center of formation. Immediately, Americans weakened the center, took off Saddam on the way. The Kurdish people went and have internal sovereignty, even though it's not external sovereignty, but they have a quasi-sovereignty. They are controlling their resources. They have their own army today, Peshmerga, and they are running their foreign policy, deciding which country to relate with. It's almost an independent region. I don't know if I got myself clear, sir.
Yeah, I've got your plea. Anyway, I've got to go because we have an officer's distance, so I will leave you. Thank you very much.
There were. Of course. Caller on WhatsApp. Can you hear me? Caller on WhatsApp. Are you there? Please go on. Caller on WhatsApp. Can you off your listening device? Caller on WhatsApp. Please go on. Go on, please go on.
Okay, Mazi. This is Mazi Nwobi. calling from Oka. So, Mazi, I greet everybody. Mazi, I may like to deviate from the topic. You know, there is kind of our local politics that is disturbing me. You know, the kind of politics that our governors are playing here. So I wonder if people are noticing these things with the insecurity happening in our land. Like here in Anam.
Mazi, go on now. Mazi, go on. Go on. Why do you stop? Go on.
You know, the account from the testimony of the people that we are. Hello, Mazi, are you not hearing me?
Mazi, go on, please, go on. Go on, go on.
Yes, I'm talking about our local politics, the politics that our governors are playing here. You know, from the account of the people that from the testimonies, you know, there's this one that you played where one man was, maybe it was his in-law that was kidnapped. You know, according to the man said that these people were Fulani people, that they told them that our butchers has been surrounded, that they will deal with us since we say that we want Biafra. You understand? Then the Reverend Father that was kidnapped, that was maybe a friend to Ibemoso or his boy, the man that he was released with also give a similar account that these people were Fulani people and all these things. There's another lady which I watched on internet. She said that she was traveling and someone just put hanky on her. Then she slept up and woke up in the kidnappers' den. There were 5 people and they killed 3 and they released only 2. But this argument chamber that they are from, everything that they are showing us is Igbo people. So I was wondering the kind of politics that they are playing. Is it that these people are collaborating with the Fulani to take over our land, that we are not seeing this thing?
Mazi, by now, I don't know. Yes. I say, let me say this. By now, we should understand that the politicians in our land, the governors being imposed in our land, there is an agenda they are working towards too. And that agenda is Fulanization. Before you become a governor in Anambra, in Imo, in Rivers, in Boni, in all the southeast and south, so to say, you must sign a secret pact. Can I say it's a secret pact? It's an open pact because, first of all, you must defend the unity of Nigeria. That is the first part. You must also be answerable to the caliphate. That one I could call the secret pact. That is why Governor Efru of Ebonyi State just kidnapped Ibu Ayaka for saying that he was one that the Fulani is responsible for what happened in Ebonyi. And because of that, he was kidnapped. Do you see that? Where is this done? Even in the north, for example, something happened and somebody said, no, it is the Igbos that did it. For example, let's say, for example, and that person will be kidnapped because of that. It's not done. It's not done. So you see that these people are working towards one channel, towards one policy, one agenda, one direction. It doesn't matter whether they are Igbo politicians or any other politicians. They are all working towards one agenda. And that agenda is to crush that spirit of Biafra in us, to Fulanize everywhere, including Igbo land. But they are giving them a leeway to do it without the people understanding. That is why Governor Petamba agreed 30 billion naira to be used in order to buy land in Enugu to settle Fulani. Do you think that he didn't know about the repercussion? He knew, but he's thinking that his thought is that it didn't. It doesn't. Does it concern you and your family? You can relocate to America. After all, many of them have dual nationalities. You are not affected, or this is not. Just like the same way what I played in the red chamber or in the green chamber. There is, when you play, I played it to the last. There is one Igbo representative that said, anyway, I trust, I hope. He said, I hope that in the future sub committee, that we shall, that Nigerian government should remember Southeast and put in future. But this one, no problem. Do you see that? That is the way they behave. They are not representing anybody. So we should understand it now. All these people, none of them are representing. Any person that goes there to represent the people, I mean our people, the load will become too much for him because he will have no partner. Look at Abaribe. Abaribe has been talking and talking and talking, but he has no equal partner to shoulder the fight. So that only one person or two people cannot do it. Before you know, the Tyson now, they only be now. We have not now. That's the system we are, this situation we are in. Now, just enjoy, otherwise you'll be sad. Just like one other thing. Just like one other thing I said. Sometimes, or most of the times, you see that you become sad. You are sad because of what is happening. Before you know it, you can develop even high BP. You understand? So others will be, even if you are there in order to represent the interests of our people, fighting, talking all the time, others will be telling you that you are Mugu. I beg, just live your life. Otherwise, you will die and leave all this your money, leave your mansion for nothing. So you die for nothing. Stop all these things. Advice of Igbo people. So it's very horrible. It takes another mindset in order to do this fight. It's not easy. It's not easy because one, the caliphate will label you, as a rebel. There are many things they will be hiding from you, including riches. Your entitlements, they will not give to you. You'll be losing them. You understand? And you'll be a target, a political target in everywhere. So that is the issue. So it is not something that anybody can engage, any type of human being can engage. That is it. So, Mazi Austin, I don't know whether you have something to add before I take, I think, the last caller.
No, Mazi, I've said it.
Okay.
I have nothing to.
Okay. Let me pick this call. Caller on WhatsApp. I think you'll be the last caller. Caller on WhatsApp. You'll be the last caller. Can you hear me? Please go on. Make it very brief, please. Caller on WhatsApp. Caller on WhatsApp. Please go on. Make it very brief. Make 3 minutes at the maximum, please. Because we're on the verge of closing. Caller on. There. Gani Rumazi.
Jonathan. Yes. Go ahead, Biafra. Go ahead, Biafra. This is Emeka Nsuka from Bucaramanga, Colombia. Nsuka is Biafra land. Mazi Jonathan, we are hearing you. The world is hearing you. And those that understand what you are saying, we follow your way because you are in fact, university of Radio Biafra. You are one of them. And I thank you. And I thank Mazi. Mazi Nnamdi Chukwu Ukwu Kanu. Onye nwanyi ga nọnyere gị. Biafrans, we have to do the needful. We have to do the needful. Because when you watch what is going on in our land, you will see that these people, they plan for us. You see oil in Biafra land, they are taking the pipe from Biafra land to Morocco. That is why they want to give Morocco the World Cup to host, to tell them, thank you for what you have done. Because that pipe is reaching Morocco from Morocco to Europe. That is why they give Morocco money to host the World Cup for doing well for them. But we, IPOB, we are ahead of them. We have to do the needful. We have to support ESN to protect our land, because I know that pipeline will go from our bushes to where it will connect to another country. We have to do the needful. We have to support ESN to take care of our bushes. If they see anything in our bushes that they don't understand, they have to fight with them, because it's our land. And we have to defend our land. No matter how they came, we know. No matter their drama in Europe, in the world, we know. And we will continue to do the needful. We cannot keep quiet. These governors does not mean well for me and you, because they are the one that swear an oath, as we swear an oath in IPOB to protect our people. That is how these governors swear an oath in Abuja with the Sultan of Sokoto to kill us, so that one Nigeria will continue to move, because they know that when Biafra come, they have nowhere in our land, because our land will be, I don't know what to call it. No evil man will live in Biafra land. We will
Mazi, this thing is giving problem. I don't know.
Because these governors, they are our killers. They see what our bush is. They see how they are killing our people.
I think you have also made your point, Mazi, because your voice is no more coming out. And Mazi Chika Austin, please, I want you to just, in few words, in order to make your closing remarks, please, before we close. Go on, Mazi.
Okay, Mazi, once again, thank you. And I also thank Biafrans all over
Mazi
the world.
Austin, are you there?
Hello, Mazi. Are you hearing me?
Mazi Austin, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, in the absence of that, we must continue towards ending the program. And what I want to say is this, that we must continue, just like one other thing I said, that we will continue enlightening our people. The knowledge of international politics is very crucial to this, our quest for the restoration of Biafra. It is very, very crucial, so that we understand how the things are interconnected, because our ability to make the right analysis, right assessments will help us to draw a viable policy, a very good policy for that will help us in the future. That is it. When we are unable to make the right analysis, we will miss the point. That is it. So that is why we must pay attention to what is happening around us, even around the world, because we are in a global family. whatever that happens in America, the policy of Trump, the policy of Joe Biden, it affects us in one way or the other, directly and indirectly. The policy, what is happening in Europe, it affects us as a people. Look at the gas pipeline they have, they have restarted. Is it not from our land? They will continue to loot. It is affecting us. Whereas in Nigeria, they are sidelining us as a people. So all these things we need to understand and know it, so that we can be able to react in a like manner for our collective benefit. That is what it is. Therefore, I urge each and every one of us to continue being acquainted with what is going on around us. Do not think that Biafra restoration is only about the happenings in our land, because Biafra is about international politics. For your information, our land is a, do you remember Bakassi? How Bakassi Peninsula was just ceded. It was given to Ahijo agreement to Cameroon during the civil war by Gowon, that if they allow Nigeria to enter Biafra land through that side, if they allow for the blockade, that they will cede it. And Hamza Mustafa have revealed to everybody how rich that place is in every ramification. How rich in natural resources, in both animals, rare animals, oil and gas, and every other thing. Animals you can never see in other parts of the world, you see it there. So, do you think? Look at how things are. They ceded the Bakassi Peninsula to Cameroon, whereas the people, the owners of the land, they are saying no, they are not part of Cameroon. No, they don't care. It is about international politics. They use our head all the time internationally, whereas we don't have the knowledge of what is happening in international politics. That is why it is good. From time to time, we understand we must try to find out what is happening around us. It helps us to sharpen our knowledge and make appropriate policies in this Biafra restoration. Many of our people are thinking that this restoration is a straightforward issue. Just like what Mazi Austin said, the leadership of this struggle, they resisted the temptation of provocation, or falling into the Nigerian provocation, so that there will be outright chaos. People don't understand what that thing means. What Nigerian government wanted to do is to make sure that we cede to the radicals that are calling, okay, let us start war. They occupy our land, they do anything they want to do. Direct. They clear everywhere, and Britain, that is what Britain has been looking for. So that look at, why do you think the problem in Congo? Because the West, they want to steal, so they are using this war to perpetrate there, so that they will be in position. The military will occupy the place, and weapons will be given to them, and the natural resources is what they will be protecting the natural resources for them to be looting. Is it not why they sponsor Boko Haram? Have you forgotten the Get agenda? How is he going to do that? By killing people, by war everywhere, causing war everywhere. As they are causing war, people are running away from their ancestral lands. Agriculture. They will be people will be in refugee camps. And the same person that caused the problem will come as solution, bringing a Gary Gabon, bringing a foreign tour for them, so that they will be thanking them. Oh, the America, USA is the best. The same way we thank. We are grateful to people that saved us. Oh, they say, why are you talking to this like a Catholic church? They are the people that saved us during the war. But they are the people that caused the war. They sponsor the thing, the whole thing. So they come as saviors. That is how the world works. That is how international politics goes. They will cause a problem. Now they will come, you will even be pleading for them to come as your solution. And they will be coming, you'll be happy, thanking them, without you understanding that they are the cause of your problems. Are you hearing me? People that are dying in refugee camps in Eastern Congo today, the EU will be bringing a relief for them. And those people ignorantly will be thanking the EU that is causing their problem, that they are our saviors. That is how it is. So, the earlier we understand all these systems, all these ways, all these systems, world systems, international geopolitics, the better for all of us, so that we be as wise as serpents in making decisions. Not everything you are looking at everything at the physical point of view. No, there are different dimensions to one thing. There is nothing like a black or white. No. There are different colors that make up the white color. There are different colors that meander from the white to black. You have to take all this. Oh, there are no, IPOB is not doing, let us fight, declare war. This you declare, and what when the wave will come, the same people will start blaming you. No, quantity DSS, the quantity DOS, now. You know, you start blaming, and by that time it becomes too late. Because look at what is happening to Zelensky. He's acting like a confused person. Are you hearing me? That is it. That is how the world is. And many European countries today are now trying to rise up to understand or to turn it, because that is politics. And this thing is untenable. This is our plan. We cannot have it because have backfired. You know, they start now being Mr. Good Person in every direction. That is how the world is. So do not be used. This struggle we are in, it is not no more. It is not like the old struggle. 1966. We need Biafra. A decision, straightforward decision, without looking at the ramifications of everything. And after what happened? Business. That is the mentality. So we need to, that is why today the leadership of this struggle is very strong. Strong-willed and strong-minded. It doesn't matter what people talk. As Mazi or former used to say, that the leadership, IPOB, is not there to satisfy you, to make you happy. No. But to go straight towards the focus. That is the thing. They are not looking to make you happy, just like all these autopilot. Today, they have started bringing deep fake. Some people even emboss me, and I hear always Trump or saying, Igbo people, I will fight for you. These are to make you happy. This is not freedom fighting. They lie to you. It's not the DOS, it's not the leadership of the struggle to bring out something to make you happy, so that when you go to social media, no, they tell you how hard it is, but we must continue. They tell you how things are. That is it. So we continue remaining in this struggle. Biafra remains our ideology. Biafra is everything. We must continue making sure that this struggle is protected and protected and protected. We continue moving forward until Biafra becomes restored. Therefore, thank you for listening. Mazi Austin, I don't know, he was having some connectivity problems, but from me, Mazi Jonathan Chinedu, together with Mazi Austin on this program, being the viewpoint, it is simply Good evening.
Ọ na-adị m ka m nọ na nlọ mbụ nwa na-ajụ m ọ sị na Biafra